flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. Great to see everyone as usual. Nice spring night out there with the showers going on, torrential showers. All right. We have a motion to approve the February 23rd meeting minutes. Mark, second by Mike. Any further discussion, any corrections or anything? No? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposition? So moved. Treasurer's report. Bill?
Okay, do the codes report, single sheet. On the left side, the bottom, $1,157 in the checking account. The middle, $6,452 in the savings. Far right is $71,795 in the New York class account. And no activity for January and February. They stayed the same.
Okay.
And now for the little thicker one, the district. We got 13 credit card vouchers, 1 encumbered, 38 district vouchers, and no codes vouchers. The front page shows our financial statement of what we got. It includes the service awards. Page 2, 3, and 4 are the budget versus the actual. And remember that the negative numbers going down under balance is actually positive numbers. And then the percent spent of the budget next to that. Page 5 is the printout from New York class, and at the bottom the M&T Bank. Sorry for the small print. Six are the permissive referendums. Not much change from last month. Page 7 is the service award, still making money, up to $1,094,122. Page 8, principal and interest, and the shaded one, $4,168 is an interest payment in truck 2. If it's shaded, it means it's been paid. And page 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 are tonight's vouchers. If the line is shaded, those are the new vouchers that you have not seen. Before this week.
Thank you again for sending them out ahead of time there, so that way we have an opportunity to go over them.
Okay, that worked this time.
Yes, yes it did.
That's all I have. Quick thing.
Yep. Any questions on anything for Bill? Okay, do we have a motion to approve the treasurer's report? Matt, and seconded by Mark. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? So moved. Okay, it looks like Mark's got the bank statements tonight. Lucky you. We have a motion to approve as, after Mark goes through them.
You don't have to approve the bank statement.
Okay, we won't approve them then. So it doesn't look like we have to close out any permissive referendums, does it? No. Second?
So we need to approve the vouchers as audited. Is that what the motion you made?
Yes, he made the motion to approve the vouchers.
Okay, so did we get a second?
I believe you seconded it.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
Any further discussion on that? So, all in favor? Aye. Any opposition? So moved. Okay. Correspondence.
I submitted, and I'll forward this to the board. I'm just formally disclosing that I serve on the board of Fire Districts Mutual. I don't have any decision-making authority. My role is district secretary, and additionally, in my capacity as director, I have no involvement in or influence over the handling of any claims, adjustment, or determination of individual insurance claims or policy in regards to the fire district. If there is any potential, any perceived or potential conflict, I would disclose that both to the board and to Fire Districts Mutual. Matt's speech also submitted a potential conflict of interest as my spouse, and in his capacity as a commissioner, any matters that came before the board involving Fire Districts Mutual, New York insurance policies, contracts, or other business, to avoid any perceived, actual or perceived conflict, he would recuse himself from those discussions and decisions. Not on the agenda, but we did get it we received it via the website, is a gentleman expressed interest in buying the two-car garage behind the firehouse. Just disclosing that. And then Fire District Affairs was received and distributed.
Okay. Any discussion anybody wants to make on the potential purchase or selling of the property across the street?
I don't think we're ready to do that.
I don't think so either. Okay. Very good. Chief support? Chief Gleason?
Okay, start with personnel. We've been making good progress with civil service, having dialogue back and forth. We are able to appropriately account for our personnel now. They've created the proper positions for the district so that we can account for all of our personnel in their system and give us some clarifications on some of the paperwork that needs to be filed for all of our employees. So we're working on putting all that information together, and then we will get those forms completed and up to them. Every employee has to have a form sent. We've sent a couple that they've asked for specifically, so we did those as one-offs, but we still have most of our folks, we have to send paperwork up there so they can be accounted for appropriately at civil service. So we're making good progress there. The other thing that we're doing is making sure that the job specifications align with what the board has approved as far as language, and personnel reviewed those, all those job specifications going forward. So there's talk about future exams and being able to hold those and be a part of those exams. The job specifications is the first part of that. So those have been set up, we're working on that. So all in all, very good dialogue, very good progress. We're making good gains with being proper with civil service. Questions on that?
It's good that we got that open door and not found it.
Yep.
Or once again, I should say.
Yeah, and they've been fantastic to work with. Really helped us out, make sure everything is in order. So it's been a very good dialogue. moving on to purchase request and notifications. For surplus and donate, we don't have anything. Surplus and auction, we're looking to surplus and auction the old gear dryer, so both of those were removed out of each station. Station 1, we took it out quite some time ago, and we added the additional lockers for turnout gear. Station 2 was removed 2 weeks ago. With the current dryers that we have, those are more than adequate for what we need. Could we end up in a backup where we've washed and turnout gear and we still need some dryer space? It could happen if we have a good response. We're working on being able to do shared spare. We don't see a need for those gear dryers anymore, so we'd like to consider those surplus and donate those. The scissor lift, I think we've already declared surplus. To Commissioner Malone, I know there was some talk about somebody maybe being able to buy that. I think if we don't have that, we're at the point where we'd like to get that listed on auctions and get that moved. And then we have a couple of ladders, one specific at headquarters that's an out-of-service fire service ladder. It hasn't been tested. It's not part of our complement. It's not anything we're going to carry going forward. I don't see a need to keep any of our out-of-service fire service ladders at this point. Look to get those moved off our garage also.
Okay. So we have a motion to surplus the old gear dryers, scissor lift, and out-of-service ladders. How many ladders are there?
2 that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Did you make that motion?
I didn't, I'm looking for a motion.
I'll
Okay.
make that motion.
Yep. I'll second. And Mike second. Any further discussion on that? And these will go into garage?
So for the gear dryers, I believe garage would be the appropriate place.
Auction international.
Option.
Auction internationally?
Auctions, sorry.
Yes.
So yeah, all the above auctions.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? So moved.
I don't have anything specific for purchase. I think we may have acted separately on what we've got for CRR. We may be all set there. Yep. So disregard that. Communications again, civil service, and everything else has been internally focused on policy and instead of the decision response guide specifically on the staffing policy. A lot of conversation on that over the last couple of weeks. For projects, we're continuing to clean out at headquarters, continuing to try to identify the best place to move old equipment, identify surplus equipment, and just general clean out. Garbage, making it to the garbage. As our weather breaks, we'll be getting rid of everything we've identified as scrap metal back there. I encourage you all to take a look at the back of headquarters. We do have everything palletized. There's a lot of equipment back there that we're gonna have to talk about here in the coming months. Once apparatus is kind of determined and out of the way, we got a little bit more space for a little more organization, but I encourage you to go back there, take a look at what's back there, ask questions about it, figure out what we may need, what we don't need. Right now, the plan is basically everything on pallets is right to be surplused because we are not using it. It's been on pallets for a year now. I think the only thing we need to pull out of there is a couple of spare sets of hand tools. And that's probably the most we're gonna get out of that. But again, that's a decision for you guys. So I encourage you to get a look back there and ask questions early about what we have, why we may or may not need it, and what your thoughts are. And then we're working with vendors to complete get some fixes in some recent orders that we had errors in. We have had multiple issues with multiple vendors on the whole gamut of everything we purchase. We've got some folks standing behind the orders, which is good to see. We've got some folks extending some service to come in and try to make things right, which is also very good to see. So we're making some progress there. We did have an issue with turnout gear that is being corrected. The vendor, two of the managers for that vendor will be in this week to go through it, make sure it's all done right and all appropriate. So we're being made whole on that one. For policy, officer in charge. So at the last commissioners meeting, Chief Natoli presented the full staffing policy, presented that very well, covered the chief's office priorities. I know there was a couple of places where he said he didn't want to speak for me, but I will tell you that he was dead on, and in our conversations that we've had matched what he presented to the board. We've reviewed the board meeting several times, the recording of the board meeting several times. I emailed everybody with my responses because there was some specific questions that were brought up. There was also a couple of other things the Deputy Chief Natoli didn't, he was trying to be respectful and didn't want to step out on and speak for me. So we've also had the opportunity at this point, I've discussed it, if not in person, by email or by phone with all of you. So I want to take an opportunity, open it back up. What I'm looking for tonight is to pass the full staffing policy, including the volunteer section. Most of that as it was originally written, but I've addressed some of your concerns. I've added a definition section as was done in policy in the past. I also added, because there was a lot of talk about EMS alarms, I've added a section, but I've added medical nature and medical incident. So you'll see definition of medical incident. And I may have to change one line there just to make sure, for incidents that are medical incidents only, in the blue type underneath draft on page 2 after the definitions. Instead of just saying EMS, I put medical incident. We've had a couple of cases, and I won't say a lot, but we have had a couple of specific cases where folks have taken the opportunity where something wasn't defined specifically to use that, what they interpreted as vagueness, as a justification for poor decisions. I want that out of this. So by writing medical incident, which we would normally refer to as an EMS alarm, we are taking out the possibility of somebody saying something along the lines of, it was a car accident, but they said there was no one trapped. So that means it's an EMS call and we win. I don't want to do that. In the couple notable cases have taken up a lot of time, taken up a lot of conversation, and created conflict. So instead of just leaving it EMS, we are being specific in the definition of a medical incident, right, which is our typical EMS alarm. But I just don't want to leave room for that to be misinterpreted, misunderstood, whatever. I'll turn it over to you all to ask any questions. If there's something you wanted on camera, or something you wanted to address, or something you wanted the chief's office or me specifically to stand behind, I will stand behind it, because I stood behind the policy as it was written originally. I stand behind this one. So I'm happy to answer any questions or make any statements you need me to make.
Any questions for the chief on any of that?
The only thing, again, was the time frame. When do we have this? We talked about this, and we were talking about it going into effect this evening after we approve it. What about for training purposes for people to get qualified time frame?
So I'll leave that to the board.
Yep.
Here's the thing, right? Yes, there is a liability component to this, but we're already living in that liability right now.
Yep.
We've discussed that. It's a valid point to be able to get this forward in front of folks. So my recommendation, if you wanted to put time on that, I would say, what's March got, 30 or 31? I haven't known this since I was a child. My mother's called me for it. 31. 31, thank you. Whatever, on March 31st at 0800, this becomes live. I wouldn't use April 1st. We've already made decisions not using April 1st. Obvious reasons. Don't push it to April 2nd. It's a valid point that folks need time to review this. To Chief Natoli's point, we actually have some folks that are making great progress towards the training. Getting this in front of them and showing them that, hey, instead of focusing on this in the personnel levels policy to become a lieutenant, I can do these two things and I can be done and I can start riding OIC and then I can start moving forward to lieutenant.
Do you have people in mind who aren't officers for the Station 2 area, unfortunate, who could sit in that seat? so we can roll? Do you have people
So
ready for
I
it?
believe Chief Melchior identified 2, if not 3 folks
At least two.
that are either qualified or incredibly close.
Okay, have they agreed to it?
I don't
That they
know.
wanted, right?
That's a personal decision,
Yes. Yep.
right?
Yep.
I'll work with Chief Melchior, we'll certainly present that.
Yep.
But that brings up opportunity to address something that came up in the first meeting. And I will take the opportunity to take this off of you and put it on me.
Right.
The question that came up is if we don't have somebody that meets this policy, do we not roll? And the answer is yes. You do not respond to an apparatus under the conditions of this policy unless it's that medical incident. If you do not have somebody that qualifies to ride that seat, you do not respond. We discussed in person the reasons for that. The standards are clear. They're 50 years old, that the person riding the right front has to be trained to a higher level than the firefighters they lead. And we use some examples of making decisions on the fire ground. What line do I deploy? Where do I lead my crew? Do I make an interior attack or do I make a defensive attack? Do I choose vent or isolate search, or do I choose an interior attack or do I choose an exterior attack? Those things aren't covered in the training standards as we have them adopted right now outside of personnel levels, right? So I'll take that off of the folks that had concern with it, right? The concern for the taxpayers was if we have interior firefighters, but nobody that's qualified to ride the seat, do not roll. Because interior firefighter does not train you to take on that additional decision-making capability or leadership. And that is where this comes in as a bridge, what I believe is a fair and obtainable bridge between being an interior firefighter and being a lieutenant. This does work hand in hand with personnel levels. There was one change made to this that I indicated in an email earlier. This document originally had 3 years of service as a firefighter. Personnel levels identified 2 years of service as a firefighter to be a lieutenant. This document was changed to meet the lower standard of the 2 years in the personnel levels. So that was the other change that was made.
Another quick question or concern that I have is if you're short on, unfortunately, our career staff that we can't always man them all the time, they're short staffed. We have people at Station 2, like this past weekend, we had an MBA. And we ended up calling Liverpool for this call to assist.
Yep.
For time-wise, time of the essence and all that, and that's what our main priority is, try to get here quick and try to take care of the situation. But if we don't have the qualified people who be the officer in the seat, are we gonna automatically start activating another department knowing that we don't have officers, so we don't have a time lapse?
Yes.
Such as that?
Yes, and I encourage you to do that.
Yep.
I encourage you to get on the phone and call 911,
Yep.
or not 911, call
Yeah,
call the
non-emergency.
TA, right? Call dispatch
Yep.
and tell them you are not staffed and it doesn't appear you're gonna be staffed, go ahead and activate the next department, because time does matter.
Right.
Right? I'm not gonna say it's the most important, right? That's part of what we're talking about here, is having the proper training
Yes.
skills and abilities to show up, right? But it isn't, we all know it's a critical factor, for sure. So I encourage that. If you know you're not gonna meet that response, and that's part of what we discussed, is by not rolling a crew that doesn't have that person to make those decisions, you're actually allowing dispatch to go to the next department to do that. Now look, is there a guarantee that that department is gonna roll the crew that has all of that? We can't control that. I can't guarantee that. I'm never gonna say that's an always thing. We do know, and Chief Melchior discussed it in the commissioners meeting, that the departments around us have full slates of line officers. We know that those training requirements similar to what we have in front of us and similar to what we put in personnel levels exists. So we stand a better chance of getting a proper crew with proper leadership to that scene faster. Right, so that's where some of that differentiation is. And I understand the perspective of, right, if we've got folks in interior qualified or trained on that MBA, but we don't have that person to make those decisions based on scene factors. That's where we live in a world of we're better able to control the risk with personnel trained better to manage that risk, right? Instead of asking folks that have no background in that and no training in that to make those decisions.
Would it be beneficial to look at our box alarms and our responses and have automatically the neighboring departments respond on the initial dispatch if we have short crews? Because
So there's no way to identify short crews.
Right.
And we don't know who's gonna show up to do that. Right, so do we have response plan work to do? Absolutely we do.
Yeah.
Right, we've already identified, and Chief Natoli identified that last time. I don't believe we want to do that automatic, because now we are stressing an already stressed system, to your point in the last meeting, right? Everybody's facing this challenge.
Yep.
Let's not ring that bell unless we need to ring it, and that way when we ring it, they know it's true, right? So we can't cover everything, and Chief Natoli said, right, we do have pretty good coverage on our staff. We're not 100%, and I've certainly never promised we're going to be 100%. We're not going to be based on how we're set up. We do have a good shot. We are making most of our alarms. We are doing those things. If we're in a situation, and that situation does and has occurred since we've gone to a career model where we don't have folks. If you don't think you're gonna have the folks, get on the phone, get on the radio and say, it does not appear that we're gonna be able to respond effectively. Go ahead and start the next department. And they will work the response plan. Right? That piece right there takes that level of responsibility, and now, right, we are doing the best we can for the taxpayer and the best way to manage everybody's safety. There's one other thing that I think is important to this conversation, and Chief Natoli had put these numbers together as part of a separate project. In reviewing the alarms from last year, we are 65-35. We are 65% EMS incidents and 35% fire. So this is not a 5 or a 10% thing. We are 35% for fire-related incidents. We are 65% EMS medical incident alarms, right? So it's not the 95.5 that's the national average. It's not the 90-10 or some of the other numbers that we've kind of had a sense of, right? This is last year's numbers only, but we are 65-35. So it matters, right? Having this and having that person be able to do that is not a 5% or a less than 10% number. It is 35% of what we do. And I think Chief Natoli's responses were appropriate, right? We are the fire department. There is nobody else coming to do these things other than our neighboring departments, right? So we have to be prepared for this.
I got no more questions.
Any more questions?
I think you responded to my statement last month about the EMS, the medical calls, and I thank you for that.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the OIC policy?
I'll make the motion.
Mike, and we have a second. Matt, any further discussion? All right, hearing none, roll call vote.
Matt, there's Commissioner Speech.
Yes.
Sorry. Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner Harrison,
No, I can't right now. No.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner LaPreece.
Yes. All right, hearing that, motion is passed. So again, please, folks, continue to work to meet the requirements of being that OIC. You got,
There was a real quick, there was a discussion on when it would go into effect, and he said he
going
would
into
like.
effect as of the 31st of this
Okay.
month,
Okay,
at 8 o'clock in the morning,
got it.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Anything
And
else?
Another note on that, we will have it in the proper format,
Okay.
right? Just for formatting and spacing and all those other things. We don't have the proper header on there and all of those. I'll identify a number. We'll get it next to personnel levels, and I will get that to you all before we send that out to the department. So you'll have another chance to look at this. I'll make that one correction that I commented on. So you all will see it in its final version before it gets posted and before it goes out to the department.
All right, sounds good, thank you. All right, anything else you have?
That completes my report for Chief Natoli. Really, our effort was focused on those same things, on civil service, on that. He does have a couple projects that he's working on, but nothing to report at the time.
Okay, thank you. Chief Melchior?
For training, I guess, just now, since that was put in effect in March, I said, we're gonna start working on part of the training that's getting people familiar with the OIC policy and how that affects them and how we can implement it too, along with the decision-making process we have with the guide. So our training's gonna change a little bit. It's gonna be more scenario-based / realistic. So we'll be working on that because it has to be that way now. It's different. And so, but that's pretty much what's going on with training. The other big thing too is, as you guys know, a lot of our departments in the truck ops class, which is awesome. We've got 6 people there, which is great. And we're moving forward on our other training. We did some extrication training last week. We got some EMS training coming up this week, and we're going to do some wildland fire preparation training for the road truck. So the people that are coming to training are consistently coming and learning and contributing, and we still need some more people to show up. So other parts of the departments that have not shown up for a while. But that's the end of my training report.
Okay.
Great question.
Any questions for Chief Melchior? No. All right. CR, Norm, what have you got for us?
So I have to make a little bit of an update. We just installed our 104th smoke detector in 18 residences. So now we're still moving along. We've got 3 or 4 next week. We're now starting to get some people calling and asking us to come and check their smoke detectors because they don't know that they need an install. So we're gonna probably start doing that too. You know, scheduling some time, going and seeing what they've got, and then give recommendations on, you know, what they need to do. Do they need detectors or anything else? I received $500 from the fire department to purchase CO detectors at their meeting on Thursday. Chief Melchior made a pretty phenomenal purchase. Got 14 detectors that were a package of 2, and they were $15 a piece. So we're gonna see what else we can do about getting more of those. And I've got, now that they're here, I'm gonna install 2 of them in one of the houses that we installed smoke detectors last week. Did a walkthrough with Paperworks on Wednesday 11th. Went very well. Again, very receptive to us coming in and doing our look at their processes and seeing if there's anything that needs to be changed. I'm going to go back, make an appointment, and go through their keys and their lockbox, make sure all the keys work. They're also going to put in some key fobs in there so that we have better access to the facility. As I was leaving, one thing they asked, and they asked this in the meeting that we had with the businesses in October, was about fire extinguisher training. And I told them that we do have a prop now, and that we'll be in communication with them to schedule what that's going to look like. And I also told them that there's a good chance that CPR first aid will be also part of that. I have a couple of training classes coming up. Gonna finish up the Stop the Bleed training next week, I believe, the practical part of it, and then in May, the Child Safety Seat Technician training. So we will be able to assess and then change out child safety seats. I'm gonna be communicating with the sheriff's department and the state police. Both of them have resources that we might be able to tap into, but there's also some grants that Walmart and some of the other big box stores have to get safety seats, because you can't inspect one without being able to change it out. So we would have to have a certain seats here to do that, but if I have the connection with the sheriff's department and the state police, we might have a better resource there. So, just some more things that we can provide to the community and, make us a safer community.
Sounds good.
That's all I have.
Keep up the good work.
I'll add on to the end of the report. Norm's also reestablished some great relationships with the town. So previously, and the town has mentioned the Belgium Cold Springs in the past, and really been engaged and active in land use development and the projects that were going on, and having input to the projects that were going on. Throughout time, that dipped a little bit, and it's something that we tasked Norm with recreating, and I will say he's done a fantastic job on that. He has great relationships. We've already taken a look at a project. We were able to provide some feedback for our access and our ability to access and be able to provide service to that property. Those changes were well received and were adapted into the plan. So we're seeing success on multiple fronts there, so thank you.
Which is good with the potential future building that's going on in our district right now. So it's a good thing that we're there, and we're not going to run into issues later on where you're not going to be able to get a piece of apparatus down there because of curbing, whatever. So excellent, glad to hear that. All right. Let's see, long-term planning. Matt?
Hey, for long-term planning, we did get a proposal back from the Wendell, that's by Google's design, for the station condition assessment. It includes Station 1, Station 2, and we'll include the tower. They didn't include it in the original one, but we want that included also, so we can make sure the tower is still viable and able to be used. So it's going to include field investigation and physical condition survey of both stations, the tower, the structures and sites, photographic inventory and compliance review for state building codes, OSHA, and FTA standards, ADA compliance, gender equality assessment, all locations, coming up to the tower, but a written condition analysis covering the architectural, structural, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems, firefighter health, safety, and cancer awareness documentation, a rough order of magnitude for construction costs and estimates, and post-zone Zoom debrief with all the stakeholders to talk about the next steps. So the field documentation, it's broken down a little bit. Field documentation is came in at 4,000. The documentation of project deliverables is around 4,000. The total proposal is 8,000 with reimbursable expenses up to, or not to exceed $500. Like I said, the only thing this doesn't include is the tower. Ken and I talked a little bit, and I think Progressive referendum.
I think so.
So with the addition of the tower and the cost of it, we're going to need two estimates, two proposals on this.
Well, it's a professional service. Because it's a professional service, I don't think we need to do that.
But the dollar amount in our policy says something different.
We can check it, make sure.
Okay.
I think because it's a professional service, I don't know whether our policy refers to professional service or not.
I don't believe it does. It just gives dollar amounts in there. So we're the different two verbal quotes and then two written quotes, and then we look two written quotes on it. And it's just dollar amounts. So I think we ought to look into that. But
Oh, we can do that.
yeah, I think it's a good idea. We definitely need to see, the condition of our building, what's going on, We just need to move ahead with it.
But we can, the referendum, if we can do the referendum now, we're into that.
We could probably still do the referendum.
Okay.
Gotta get that
To
second.
approve it and then get the quote, get a second quote to compare it. But we do have,
And if we do a permissive referendum for this, perhaps we could include, Chief, you talked about the GIS report and like that maybe David East and someone else are working on. If we did the permissive referendum for a bulk amount, could they be paid out of that also?
So I think if you worded it that way, so for Chief Heath, that's part, what he's doing and participating in is part of the scope. And we're limiting this point, his involvement to stay within the scope of what he already proposed and was already. The additional assistance we are receiving is free of charge and is just a professional courtesy.
so the fire district has adopted the best value procurement, which General Municipal Law 103 has been amended to provide local governments greater flexibility in awarding contract by authorizing the award of the purchase contract, including service work, upon the basis of best value. So it gives you some flexibility. Trying to read it off. Best value procurement links the procurement process directly to the fire district's performance requirements, including but not limited to selection factors, including useful lifespan, quality, and options, and incentives for more timely performance and/or additional services. Even if the initial expenditure is higher, using best value, considering the total value over the life of the procurement may result in better value and long-term investment of public funds. And this was adopted December 15th in 2014.
So is that the procurement, the 0006 one?
So I have that, and that refers specifically to purchases and public works contracts. So again, this is a board decision, but in 006, it is estimated purchase contract. Right, so to Kit's point, this is a professional service versus a purchase. I'm not weighing in on whether you choose to adopt it or not. I just have the policy in front of me that does say purchase.
I just want to make sure that we're doing this correctly and that's, we're giving fair chance to whomever, and that's, this is something that's,
Well, yeah, I mean, it's professional service, it's like our physicals, it's like our attorney.
You could adopt it pending review from our council, if we want to get an opinion from council,
It's a good idea.
just so we don't hold up.
sounds good. All right.
So my recommendation would be to just go and do the rest of the referendum.
Can't hear you, Matt.
I was talking to Kit.
Yeah,
When I address the, I will.
yeah. So, what do you want to go from? 15? Okay.
So I'm proposing we make a permissive referendum for the $15,000 to spend on our station condition assessment.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
And any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
And any opposition? So moved. have the attorney check, just to make sure everything's good on it.
Did your motion include using Wendell pending a review from council?
Does now, yes.
Anything else on long-term planning?
No. But we'll be setting up a meeting hopefully by the end of the month. I just got to check with Amy to make sure that the building is available.
Okay.
Before I do that, I want to set it up and have it not be available.
Okay, sounds good. New truck committee, Mark?
Nothing to report on the new truck committee. I mean, everything's running fine as far as I know.
Good. Like I said, in public safety, next meeting is going to be tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, and that's going to be at Lakeside. Again, everybody is welcome. Going to have the fire extinguisher prop there tomorrow, so Norm will be doing a demonstration on that, so come on by and check it out. Budget and finance, Kit?
The public hearing, just a reminder, it's next Monday night for the special tax zones. It's at 6 p.m., not 7, it's at 6. We've gone back and forth about that, but I think the legal notice is 6, right, Emma, Amy? 6 p.m. here.
IT committee, Matt?
Hey, we had a first meeting with the Garham Group today, evaluating our systems and pricing, scope and all that stuff. I believe we're meeting with Usherwood tomorrow. So we're half done with that, kind of see where we are and if Usherwood is still a better value or if somebody else out there can give us a better bang for our buck.
Good, good.
So more to report on that next month.
Yeah. Personnel, Kit?
We have one vacancy in the paid firefighter EMTs. Personnel is going to start interviews. We have 17 applications right now. So we're going to select from those the ones that we want to sit down and interview.
Okay. Truck maintenance, anything?
Truck maintenance, squad 1 and 1 both went out briefly last week. I believe for oil changes and some minor maintenance. That's the only thing I have on truck maintenance. While we're talking about trucks, I had a couple of inquiries regarding Rescue 2, one from Pennsylvania. We corresponded back and forth, and their question was what size motor, and I told them it was a 6.4, and then I haven't heard anything back from them. So I believe they were looking for the 6.7 bigger motor, so we lost that one. Engine 21 have an inquiry from Frankfurt, right down by Utica. They have an older American LaFrance that they're looking at replacing. We corresponded back and forth, and they were going to let me know. They wanted to come out possibly this week to take a look at what we have. So I will keep in touch with that gentleman there. And tomorrow, I believe Amy is going to be working with Auction International with all the other stuff that we have, and we can put Rescue 2 on that like we discussed at the last meeting.
The gator repair.
Yep, the gator is back, repaired. I don't know anything else about that. The tank, was it a replaced tank?
Yeah, replace the coolant.
Coolant tank?
And the annual maintenance.
Yep, so that's back in service.
Did they give you an estimate on the bill? Because I did not get the bill.
I'll call them and get them tomorrow. The way I understood before was around $650 total.
Okay, so Commissioner Melchior went and picked it up, they estimated around $650.
No, Commissioner's not.
Sorry, chief, sorry, I'm thinking then, but I'm talking to you. Because they're gonna bill us for it, but we have to pay within 10 days.
That's what they told us, yes,
So-
they were gonna send that.
If it, so it's estimated 650?
Yeah, the annual maintenance is 300 and the tank was 350 or vice versa, so 650 total, give or take. And they were supposed to send that invoice that day.
Yeah, I didn't get anything, so I think we can follow up with them.
Right, I will.
But can I get the okay to pay that when it comes in, as long as it's around the estimated?
Yes.
Okay. They got us, when we finally were able to get it in, they got us in. I don't want to,
Right.
Yeah.
Mess up
They were
that.
pretty fast too, so, which is good. Anything else?
For truck maintenance, no.
Building maintenance?
Building maintenance. We've had a few little things going on with the buildings. We had the faucet, had the plumber come in and take care of that in the restroom. Stove repair, one of the ovens wasn't working, that's been repaired. We had a trouble on the fire alarm system, found a loose wire. And we're still waiting to hear back from Hills regarding the heating and the proposal, what they want to do for that control panel. And that is all I have for building maintenance.
All right. Old business. Policy 00031, security cameras and building access controls.
And so I submitted a draft change. During a recent FOIA request, we found out that what we had in our policy didn't align with what the retention was with IT systems. So basically what I did is I changed a couple of sections to reflect that 30-day retention policy that we have in here, and make sure that we contact them to make sure that it's 30 days across the board. I think we found some of them were up to 60, and it should be consistent across the board. Any thoughts on?
I think it looks good. Is there a way of tracking access to it? Okay.
Yeah.
So as long as we have. Any questions on the changes? The changes to the policy are in blue in here.
So I make a motion, we approve the changes and give Amy the access with my Kate to make those changes.
Okay.
She's been doing them, so.
Okay. So that's a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? So moved. All right. So we've got other policies here that were sent out, and discussion had on that. I left it open for, instead of just saying it needs to be closed up and we need to fine tune it a little bit, I'd like some more comments on that so that we can move ahead with these two things. So please, I appreciate your comments, but give me some solutions.
Which policy?
Which policy is that? That's the,
0047.
yeah, 47. 0047.
Well.
In 42.
42.
Yeah.
47, whichever one is the training stipend.
Yes. 47 is a training stipend.
Okay, so I have a problem with that one because our policy states that the law also authorizes Board of Fire Commissioners may establish by resolution with budgetary consequences a local fire training stipend for qualifying courses as determined by OFPC for payments up to $500. Now, I don't know that these additions are courses that are determined by OFPC as qualifying. So that's where my problem lies. As much as we want to provide stipends for these additional EMS things, I don't know that we statutorily can. And I think that's why Tony McIntyre, Jim Perrin are going to Albany and have gone to Albany. Dave Deniston, they're all spending time in Albany in the past week or two to try to...
Not to interrupt, but I think they're focused more on the fire side of things, and this is focused on the EMS side of things. So, as stated earlier, the vast majority of our calls are medical calls, okay? So, I think that, and we're losing EMTs also. So instead of not doing something, this is to be proactive. This is to retain and say, attaboy, good job, you know, here's a couple bucks or whatever for spending time going to this class. And I think it's recognition.
And that's what this new laws, if we can get them passed by the state, it will allow us to give gift cards, do stipends. The only stipends we can do are from the training stipend that already has been passed by the legislature. And that doesn't allow us to give anything other than what they stipulate.
If I can provide a little information, and again, I'm not weighing one way or the other, this is a board decision. So what Kit is referencing is New York State General Municipal Law 200-AA. It's New York State Volunteer Firefighter Training Stipend Program, and that's what the policies were built off of. The 0047 was built off of the New York State law allowing statutorily to pay for fire training. Look, I understand and support the EMS training also, but what that was is a volunteer firefighter training stipend, and that law points specifically to the OFPC courses. So that's where we included EMT, we included some of those courses.
Because they were on that list.
Because they were on that list. So again, all I'm saying is the history of 00-047 was to reflect what was passed statutorily in the general municipal law that started, the class had to start August 31st, 2023, referencing back to that. So that's where this was derived from, was that law, giving that statutory authority to create a local stipend program for the fire training classes and the OFPC classes.
And that's why we're fighting in Albany for gift cards, stipends, recognition, and like that, which we haven't been able to do.
It makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah,
Makes
sure.
perfect sense. So
Sure.
you have people that are volunteering their time, they're taking these classes, and the majority of the calls are EMS-related calls, and yet, I'm sorry, but we can't give you a couple bucks.
And that's the frustration that Jim Perrin and Tony Mack and a lot of other fire service people are taking to Albany. And that's why we're trying to get, and I think we've got a pretty good chance of getting that passed this year.
Okay. So we'll have to hold on to this so that when it does pass, that we'll
Yeah.
revive it.
I don't like it, but,
Okay. New business. Lawn and snow contract bid. I didn't see on the past contract damage done to the lawns after that.
Yeah, I definitely.
So I think that's something that this winter was a very bad winter, winter like we haven't had in years, and there's a lot of damage to the lawns, both areas, all three areas actually, so we need to put that on there, and I think it's fair that we do send it out to bid again. I think that they did do a good job, with what they had. We had a lot of snow, like I said, and they seemed to take care of it pretty well. So again, we'll revise that and put that back out there for them.
Do we want to, I can put the bid spec, update the bid specs, send them out. We can do the bid opening before the next meeting. I can set it for like maybe the Wednesday or Thursday before. That way you guys have it for the weekend to review, make a decision at the next meeting.
Okay. Not the next meeting, but the next commission meeting next month?
So I could do, let me look at it. Let's see.
April 20th.
Or do it like the 8th, that gives you guys a week-ish to look at it, or the 13th,
Okay.
somewhere in there,
Okay, that sounds good.
13th or 14th. No,
So last year, we had the discussion, and a lot of the contractors work lawn and snow together, so they're looking for a 1 year. Right, the board chose to separate that. How do you want that managed this time? Are you looking to do lawn and award the snow also? Or are you looking at two separate bids? Because I know we had a delay last year, going back to then try to do that. So do you want that as one bid together, or do you want them separate again?
What's your thoughts?
Well, separate gives us more flexibility.
Right?
It gives you more flexibility. It also doesn't guarantee the contractor a year's worth of work, right? We got one response last year. We had hoped for more. So that's the opposite side of the coin, right? You definitely have more flexibility with them separate. You're not giving the contractor the ability to do the full scope of 1 year's worth of work. That's the other side of the coin. Again, board decision, but that's part of the consideration in that.
I think some of it might be timing though too.
Timing could have absolutely been a factor.
That's
So we'll do separate, right?
just okay.
Okay. Cash contract update.
Is this New York bid pricing?
Huh?
Is this New York state bid pricing?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I totaled them up and my hand scratching shows that now we're paying $593, and if we go to all three, we'd be paying $583. Do you want to decrease the outlay, or do you want to increase the service and have it, I think increasing the service is a good idea.
Yeah, ends up costing less.
Yeah.
And locking is a good idea.
And that's whatever, yes, there's times that we go out there, and I was talking with Mark a little while ago, that, there's children's stuff out there, there's animal stuff out there now, an animal cage or whatever. So, yes, people are taking advantage of the dumpster, but on the flip side of things, they'd be thrown out in the street. So it's just,
Or they're gonna throw it in front of the dumpster on us.
yeah.
Oh, we
make
do
a
have
mess.
cameras there.
We've got the
Right.
camera.
Right.
Right, so I've personally witnessed a car pulled up with a trailer on it, unloading his trailer
Yeah.
into the dumpster. Waving at me, smiling as he drove away before I could ask him kindly, what was happening.
We ran into that same situation at work where somebody was doing it. We ended up getting their plate and our SRO took care of that and went over and explained to them what was going on. Corrected it.
Joe? All right, so I think at hand is whether we acquire another dumpster and locate that at headquarters, and you're looking at a recyclable container?
Recycle, definitely recycle, trash if possible at headquarters, and then change station 2 to scheduled pickup, because now we're calling on demand and we're calling about once a month. It's getting utilized a lot more.
Right, so let's do that, let's get it scheduled.
Where are we gonna be putting them at headquarters?
So I looked at a
Somewhat
couple of
visual.
spots today.
Somewhat visual so people could see them, not around the backside.
I would put them where you can't see them.
Well,
If
right
we're
to
not-
the-
yeah, well, you could, but I don't want people driving around and being sneaky, but then again, we got the camera there.
We got the camera, right?
Yep.
So we already know that folks are illicitly dumping
Yep.
in our dumpsters. So we have two options. If we go locked,
Right.
that eliminates the risk. There's really kind of two places there. So I took a look today, and they have another spot too. We can go, so the middle room that's unutilized and is currently collecting garbage and cardboard, you could go into the parking lot on the far side, not the building side, the
Sure.
far side.
Yeah.
You can go 6 spaces deep and mark off some space there. It's parking that isn't utilized very often. You could go around back in the lawn. We could do some run across back there,
Yeah.
put dumpsters back around back over in the lawn. So it's clear of the bays. And then, is there someone else you were discussing today?
Just like in the parking lot, either grassy spot or just like on the back edge.
So the back edge of the parking lot.
I think for snow removal reasons and everything else, probably be better off in the backside of the building. Because it'd make it easier for the truck to get in and get to the dumpster. And then if you put them over on the opposite side of the building, that's where most of the snow gets winged and everything else, so they get buried, so.
So both spots actually impact snow removal.
Right, because you go around the backside and push it.
If we do around the back, right, they're
Yeah.
coming around back and pushing over
Yep.
into where those would be.
Yeah,
Parking, if you did the parking lot, that splits up
right.
where that's getting winged or where that's getting pushed. So we're gonna have implications on snow removal either way.
Okay.
Okay, what are we getting?
So if we're adding them at headquarters, where are we putting them?
First of all, is it an it or a them?
That's up to you.
So overall, we are actually saving money going with more dumpsters
Yeah.
Yeah.
and more dump
Yeah.
time than what we're currently having now. It's a no-brainer.
And that's a them, right?
Yeah,
So trash and recycling
Yes.
at
Yep.
headquarters.
yep.
Okay. We
And
need a
where-
motion on
where are
that,
we-
or?
And we'll, for now, I don't know, we put them, just for now, just put them in the backside of the,
Yeah, I think the back's probably
so
the
that
best.
it's more
They're on
accessible
site.
for the trucks and everything else till they get used to it, and then we can always move it afterwards.
Yep.
Okay,
So around back. from-
yeah, the backside.
Yep. All right, so we have an application for an active member. I didn't went through, it was approved at the department business meeting. I was actually there at the interview, spoke with them. Very good qualifications, so. So I'll make the motion to approve him pending physical. Next second. Any further discussion?
Actually, I think I put it in the email that I sent you, where he is currently employed, they use the same physical provider.
Okay.
And we accept that and just have him get a fit test for our masks.
Okay, so we'll do that then. Fine.
So pending his fit test.
Pending his fit test. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? So moved.
Who seconded that? I'm sorry.
Mark did. All right.
So,
Public, so,
I have
yes.
something that I didn't add on there. We received the 25,000 wellness grant from, both from the state. We finally gotten all the financial paperwork back. We couldn't act on anything before all that stuff was signed. But to move forward, I will have to put out for a request for proposal for, the consultant to come in and do the wellness grant. So I need to put that together. So I'd like, I guess the permission to do that and then work with the chief's office to review the RFPs. So we can move forward with that, because we're on a timetable with it. Once we sign the paperwork, and they only gave us like a week to sign it, we have to start moving with it.
Okay. Any opposition to Amy doing that? Nope. Okay. Go for it.
Okay.
Public comments, anything tonight? Okay. And I believe there was a need for executive session tonight.
So I make the motion, we can move into executive session for G.
G. Do we have a second? Second. And any further discussion on that? Good. All in favor? Aye.
We need the chief.
We need a chief, okay. We shouldn't be conducting any business afterwards, we're all set?
Yes.
Yeah, she's.
Yes, I think we will.
We will?
Yes.
Okay. We will. Okay. All righty, looks like we are back in at, what time, maybe 9:08?
21:08.
9:08.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Matt, you have a motion that you would like to make there?
Okay. So we had a member, Michael Sanders, suspended on February 28, 2026 until the next commissioners meeting, at which time the commissioners decided to continue his suspension and proceed with the 209L proceedings. So I'll make that motion. We do that.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
And any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? So moved.
So I would make the motion to offer full-time Deputy Chief Natoli to move to full-time Deputy Chief, starting the first pay period in June. Base pay $106,000 with additional benefits defined by the contract. And we agree to enter into good faith negotiation. I'll give you a copy of this.
Okay.
We agree to enter into good faith negotiation regarding health care benefits for individual and family. So I'll make that motion.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Matt, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? So moved. Anything else?
So now we do vouchers, right?
Now we do vouchers.
Before we read pictures.
So we're officially, almost unofficially all set. We'll just go through and sign vouchers, so you're all set. Thanks for stopping by and watching.